So today on our third podcast, we're going to be talking to Tony Sturtzel and Terry Spear from Red Storm, who are kindly delaying their dinner plans so I can press them for some more information about how the weapons in the division are made and how their crew are creating guns that could easily get framed and hung on the wall. You know, because they're like pieces of art. I'm Hamish Bode, and you're listening to the official The Division podcast. I mean, I'm really excited that you guys flew all the way from America just to record a podcast.
Yeah.
That is the only reason that we came. Our next flight is in 1 hour from now.
Yeah, we heard there's a chance we could be famous.
All right.
So
All right.
here we are.
That's the goal.
Yeah.
That's the dream. So, I mean, I actually have no idea. So this is going to be very, very easy. How long have you guys been with Red Storm?
I have been there, this is my 7th year.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I don't know about this guy over here.
2 years for me.
2 years.
2 years for Terry?
Yep.
7 for Tony.
7 for me, yeah.
Okay.
He's a long timer.
So you're part of the Clancy alumni. Would that be accurate?
At Red Storm, we have, 2 or 3 tiers of elite status above me.
Oh, really?
Oh, yes.
Can you talk a little bit about those guys?
Sure, yeah. I mean, our environment staff alone is made up of guys that probably average around 10 years
Easy.
at Red Storm, maybe. Wow. I mean, that's not even blasphemy to say that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you start talking about cumulative years of experience and you add the weapons team and animation team and character guys and all of those guys, man, it gets up there really quick. Yeah.
So would it be fair to estimate hundreds of years of Clancy experience across the board?
Easy.
Easy.
Yeah, that only takes, 10 or 15 people of 7 to 10 years. So yeah, I think it's definitely hundreds.
That's
Yeah.
what for you, what Clancy games have you worked on?
Ghost Recon Future Soldier was my first, we had a GR project before that, that was Clancy. But Ghost Recon Future Soldier was the shipped title that I've worked on, and then I moved over to Rocksmith. So it's nice to be back under the Clancy umbrella.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right, and so we didn't go into it before, but you're doing a lot of the level design stuff.
Yes.
And you're
Producer.
making sure everyone stays in line.
Yes,
Just
get lots of coffee and
smacking
things
some
like that.
people.
More than that. You're not a coffee guy.
The instructional coffee video was maybe the crowning achievement of my life.
The instructional coffee video?
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah,
I haven't
this
seen
is the
this.
thing.
Okay.
So we got a new coffee machine at the office,
Okay. Important.
and it requires you to fill a carafe of coffee, and people weren't doing it, and so the presumption was maybe they don't know how to actually operate the machine,
That's natural.
and so we decided to take ourselves much too seriously and do like an 80s corporate training video. One night we got a little weird and made a coffee training video. We got it down to 15 steps.
Okay.
To make
so it's
some
not
coffee.
easy.
It's a big carafe.
We may have exaggerated a little bit.
Is it
but,
really that difficult?
it was all part of the video. We should actually link it.
I would love to see
along
it,
with
and I would
this
love to share it.
because it is exquisite.
All right.
And like I said, it was maybe the crowning achievement. I got my SAG card.
Yeah, I
and
wouldn't doubt
everything.
it.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
SAG card. Sorry,
Oh,
I'm completely lost
Screen
again.
Actors Guild.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
No.
So
All
now
right.
Yeah,
he's
I'm
official.
actually real talent. I
you
needed
go.
my fee. I'm
you
gonna
have-
have to collect my fee from you for this.
Sure, I mean, I wouldn't
actually.
expect anything else.
And
do
then
you have
everyone-
like an IMDb link?
I
Like,
do. Yeah.
credited.
Yes, it has.
UB corporate coffee video.
It has one hidden entry.
Yeah.
It wasn't you. I promise.
And anyone that watches it will then know how to make great coffee.
That's true. You will know how to
outstanding.
make great coffee
Yeah.
with the coffee machine that we have at Red Storm.
Yeah.
Specifically.
All right. Natural segue. You guys do a lot of the weapons.
Yes. Yes, we do.
It's kind of important.
Coffee and
Yes.
weapons, yeah.
Yeah, that is a huge point of pride for us. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, you guys had heaps of experience with that with past Clancy projects. And our community right now tends towards the more hardcore end of it.
Yes.
So they're psyched about the weapons, like that big time. Where do you start with building a weapons library when you're like, okay, we have to build weapons for the division?
For a lot of them, the guys go into their closets and pull them out.
Oh, because America.
America.
Yeah, because hashtag America.
Yeah.
Okay.
We just have all of those. No, but honestly, there are quite a number of them within the various gun closets and safes at Red Storm employees' houses. But also, our weapons team works very closely with our authenticity coordinator and the leverage and beauty and power of Ubisoft to coordinate with all sorts of other agencies that have access to weapons that we can maybe only get for sometimes just hours to record a weapons shoot or something like that.
Yeah.
Take a bunch of pictures because we know we like to, ever since we did Gunsmith on GRFS, we like to take them apart and get even the innards. And those guys are modeling like the springs on the inside, and there's rifling in the barrels.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's intense. They take their craft very, very seriously.
Yeah. So from that background, what have you found transfers to the Division? Obviously, it's a different solution for a different game, but are there any similarities or differences that you think are notable?
From GRFS, you mean?
Yeah, or anything that you've done in the past.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one thing that we did, want to make a very high priority for this project was obviously quality and high fidelity. And we learned a lot of lessons from GRFS because Gunsmith was kind of a late development. We stumbled into it and realized the power of it and how interesting it was. And we actually had to go back and do a lot of rework to the weapons we had already built in order to be able to blow them apart and have all the various pieces and bits visible to the player. So this time around, we said we're not going to make that mistake again. We're going to build it completely authentic down to caliper measurements for screw heads and things like that from the start. And we actually have, some relationships and conversations with manufacturers directly. So we get to the point where it's CAD drawings and real actual details of the weaponry, yeah.
What else did I want to know? I mean, we've seen some workshop stuff. People, our hardcore community that I talked about before, have stumbled across like ZBrush workshops that you guys have done, and you talk about the hard surface modeling with those guys. What other workflow things are you doing that are working really well for you right now? But has working with Snowdrop been any different, or
compared to
I don't know what you guys used before?
Well, Snowdrop's wonderful. I mean, it's a fantastic piece of technology, and at least level designers and level artists are able to really turn out content quickly just because of how the editor functions. So that's fantastic. I mean, I would happily use this engine again and again and again.
Yeah.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Awesome. But in terms of the the weapons side of things, are there any interesting features inside of Snowdrop that allow you to do things that you haven't been able to do in other engines, or?
I don't know. I know that, the Gunsmith whole idea was kind of taking everything to the extreme in terms of weapon mods and attachments, and it's been a bit of an inspiration for anything Clancy, I think, going forward. But unfortunately, I think as far as the specifics of a workflow improvement, probably only JD can answer that.
Probably.
Our weapons guru.
Yeah, I met JD. He's super.
Yeah.
He knows everything.
Yes.
Yeah, he does.
He's the beast. We'll have
He's
to
the guy.
get him on.
Absolutely,
next time.
yeah. Do one just with him. He'll talk your ear off for sure.
I think we might have to do more than one.
Yeah.
Like a marathon.
Yeah.
Split it into 8
A 23-part series.
Of guns.
Weapons with JD.
Yeah, you could, and a lot of people would probably
would watch
listen.
Okay.
I would listen.
Okay.
Yeah.
We joke, but it could happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll see if people respond to that. I mean, nothing's off the
No,
table.
they'll be busy watching the coffee video.
Okay. They'll have that on loop.
Yeah.
No, that's fair. That's fair. So, I mean, people haven't seen it yet, but we'll probably show them at some point. And I've seen it myself. Footage of you guys recording the guns in Florida, I think it was, because some of our guys went over there for that. Were
Yes.
any of you guys at the shoot?
No,
No.
that was our authenticity guys and audio coordinator, our audio director. Those guys were down there. And we're always super jealous of the audio team and the weapons team because they get to do the coolest stuff, I think, out of anybody on the teams. They're always flying somewhere to grab hold of some extremely powerful weaponry and fire it into oblivion.
Yeah, it kind of sounds fun.
Tear up some rental cars out in the desert somewhere or something like that. So.
Gotta get impact sounds.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, we'll be making levels.
Yeah, but that was a great one. You know, we've actually, Justin Drust, who's the audio director for most of what we do at Red Storm, does a great job of reaching out to other teams within Ubi. And this is just kind of a little Ubi love moment that, you know, whenever we can, we share those time slots at ranges, and especially because you are renting some of the weaponry sometimes, and you're paying for ammunition and everything else. So we try to fly in other teams as well, you know, work with guys from Rainbow or Montreal or something like that whenever we possibly can, do kind of a collaborative thing.
I mean, because even the gunplay varies across games. I mean, I'm assuming the
You still get the same gun.
audio needs to be at least started from the same point.
Exactly.
Even though the treatment's probably wildly different.
Exactly. I think if you talk to Simon about how he's doing weapons here and Justin about how we did them on GRFS, they have very different philosophies, or might have very different philosophies, but the root audio files that are captured at something like a weapon shoot are the same. You know, the starting point is the same. And they have, of course, quite a lot of fun out there in the desert or in the swamps in Florida.
Any excuse.
Yeah.
Well, the swamps in Florida sounds probably a little bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
For me.
Well,
I'd
I'm
still do
sure
it.
they went
That's
the
okay.
right time of year though, so I think it was pretty beautiful.
Yeah.
All right. I did hear that they have to edit out a lot of bug sounds.
Yeah, I believe that. And I think they shot through a cable, which I'm not sure I should say on the podcast, but there was like a last minute Amazon Prime order to replace a rental audio cable that was, you know, a couple $100.
Just shot through it.
Stray shot. I'm blaming Simon for that one. I'm sure it was him because he's a Swede.
He's not as practiced as you guys.
Yeah.
I did talk to him about it when I was interviewing him for a video that we're looking at putting out. And he was saying he was scared, man. Like, for someone who's not as involved with guns as I guess a lot of the guys in your studio are.
Sure.
Shooting anything, and then shooting some really serious stuff.
Yeah, the most serious stuff. You know,
he freaked out, man.
Put some rounds through it, like an M60 or a Barrett or some kind of 50 cal, and that'll.
Yeah, I think it almost took
get
his
your heart
shoulder
racing.
off.
Yeah, shake your teeth.
Yeah.
For sure. Big time.
Yeah.
I mean, we're a third-person game. Do we have a single model for weapons? Or, like, I know, obviously, in other games you have a third-person gun model and you have a first-person model. Yeah. How do we handle that?
I believe that's a little bit of Snowdrop magic that handles it. But as far as what we build a very, very kind of ridiculously high poly version of the model. That's what the ZBrush part is.
Sure.
And you can watch JD and Mike's Pixelogic ZBrush Summit video.
That's awesome. A lot of people have seen that.
The full details of that. But, you know, they use a plugin called Dynamesh to break little pieces into millions and millions of polygons while they're actually working on them. And then from there, they take it and make it game resolution. And then the game resolution model is what is used for anything like if we show the weapon in the UI or what the player's holding. Okay. And then it's LOD settings from there as far as where it drops down.
All right, and for people who...
Level of detail.
Level of detail.
Yes.
No, it's cool. So yes, depending on where they see it in the game, if it's...
Exactly.
In the UI.
If it's in another player's hand versus your hand versus in the UI, you know, you'll see, but the high fidelity is there. And, you know, you'll get plenty of opportunities to experience it for sure.
Compared to past projects, more resolution in these?
Highest ever.
Okay. Yeah, absolutely.
By a million miles.
By a lot? Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how.
No, highest ever.
I asked some people. We often do this because I told them you guys were coming on.
Cool.
And they have some questions.
Sure.
All right.
Okay.
So let's have a go. Matthew Lawrence on Twitter asks, how many weapons can you equip at one time? And then he asks something else, but we'll just keep it to the first bit.
This is
equipped weapons.
Like how many weapons can you have?
Equipped, not stored, but equipped.
I believe current design is a primary, secondary, and a sidearm.
But you can't fire them all.
No, you can't.
Same time.
Well, you can't dual wield.
Yeah, no.
Right.
Like LMGs.
Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah, Tony's up. Tony's right on.
Okay.
Primary, secondary, and sidearm.
but technically equipped.
And then there's, of course, loads of gear and all of that type of stuff that you know, depending on where you draw the line between weapon, it could be more.
Incendiary device,
exactly,
et cetera, et cetera.
Okay. Right. So, yeah, there's variation. But yes, you can fire one weapon at once, but the primary, secondary sider. Okay.
Correct.
All right. This one, I don't know what to say. Thaddeus Prime asks, the big question is, will we have beards? I mean, weaponized beards probably sounds like a pretty good idea.
Weaponized beards.
I'm thinking through the customization at this point.
Yeah.
That's a character design question.
It is.
Yeah.
But weaponized beards, duly noted.
Right. That's a good idea. That we should look into that.
Yeah, we should get that in.
How do you decide to choose weapons for the game? That's from Chris.
Oh, it's a long legal and design conversation that goes back and forth quite a bit. Mm-hmm. You know, it's usually starts with the kind of fiction of the universe, which we know what we have for the Division. So you start thinking about things that would be in this environment, you know, not a lot of old Russian weaponry or something like that. But then you start saying, well, maybe you would stumble into this type of weapon through this type of gameplay or unlock it via this type of experience. And all the while, our authenticity guys are checking with legal and making sure that those things are doable. Mm-hmm. And marketing sometimes has some suggestions about things that they would like to see, that they've heard about, people being excited about. And it's just a big collaboration. And then we come to a list that we like, and then we make sure that design agrees that they can make sense of all of that, and or maybe they need more in order to make sense of what they have. And we just kind of go from there until we have something that we agree on.
Yeah, there's the collaboration part is important because there's always the I want list, you know, like this is my favorite gun, et cetera, et cetera. And then making sure that those weapons fit the encounters, like you said, the design checkpoint where we go, well, that's a great gun, but that shoots a mile, and we don't need that, you know, or you know, so making sure that those weapons, okay, yeah, that supports the kind of encounters we want, et cetera, et cetera.
Of course. Chris, the same fellow at GT Ballistic 14. Actually, this would be an interesting one for Terry, I think. How tough is it to find ammo?
Well, that's in flux. I mean, that's a huge tuning knob. It's a big
question.
I mean, that single element affects so many things, you know, from difficulty, frustration levels. The instant the player has too much ammo, then it becomes a non-issue. Having to conserve ammo is an emotional stress, you know, in some cases. So we have to figure out how we want to present that. And so it's still, you'll have enough to fire your weapon, believe me. It's not going to be the kind of game where you have one clip with, you know, 16 rounds.
Magazine.
Yeah, thanks.
One magazine.
You have to hold on to that. I was talking about a pistol, all right?
Okay.
A pistol.
Are you going to get in trouble for saying clip?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Well,
the authenticity guys will come around it.
Magazine.
He was thinking I was talking about an automatic weapon, but I wasn't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
we have to be accurate.
Yeah. You're not going to hold on to that for an hour.
Anybody who's listening that didn't hear me correct that would have rolled their eyes.
It was Terry.
We didn't do that. So.
It's okay. It's fine. I can take it.
That was good.
So anyway, you won't have to hold on to that for an hour.
All right. Just a couple more before we head off. Actually, a couple of people had the same question. Chemex32 and Kretak also asked, will there be weapon degradation? That sounds interesting.
Like weapons breaking?
Well, just like usage over time.
Model deformation?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, we talked about having the lock switch being represented in the texture of the weapon. But is that going to change over time?
No, I don't think there's any long-term design for that. There is some just, you know, snowdrop sexiness of, like, if you go full auto with an LMG, you get the barrel glowing red hot and a little bit of smoke starts to come off of it and things like that. So we do some visual tricks and some fun there because those things actually happen. You can melt a barrel if you're not careful with an LMG like a 60 or an M249. And so, we like to put those little touches into a game like this, but I haven't seen a design that says that they would, slowly break or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there were some changes to the weapons. That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. And let's finish with this one. Caleb McAllister says, what has been the greatest challenge faced for Red Storm while working on the Division game?
Whew.
I like that one.
Wow.
Tony?
That is quite the question.
It's very open.
Gosh, I don't know. It's, we travel quite a bit in order to facilitate the collaboration. And this is my 9th trip.
9th.
To Massive in just over a year. So,
Okay.
I'm here quite a bit. It's every 6 or 8 weeks.
So you've racked up some flyer miles.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
Going from North Kakalaki all the way out here is quite a ways.
Yes.
I mean, it's 2 plane rides and a train ride.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah.
You don't even end up in the country
Right,
when you land.
you fly to Denmark and then you get on a train.
To be fair, the train takes 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Still a train
It's
ride.
beautiful too.
It is nice.
It's so picturesque. It's exactly what you expect. There's windmills out in the water. It's very Scandinavian. It's
Yeah.
lovely.
I was impressed.
And the weather this time of year is fantastic.
I was tempted to actually do the podcast outside.
Yeah, you don't
This-
have to twist my arm too much to get here in April or June. It's the December, January trips that are a little bit brutal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so going back to the question, I think, I would just turn it around and say that we've thoroughly enjoyed the collaboration, working with the guys who built Snowdrop is fantastic. And then working with them on this project where we feel like, we sort of helped lay the Clancy roots in Ubisoft. And so being a part of a Clancy title where we can lend some of our experience and expertise is an honor. And the passion and talent in the studio here is tremendous. And we're always jazzed up and inspired when we head back. So, we are really, 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 really proud and happy to be a part of this project.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, let's leave it for the questions. But is there anything you want to say to people who are listening, fans of the Division, who have come looking for weapons answers?
No pun intended. It's a massive game. I mean, there's going to be so much to do that I'm really excited to actually let it go and just see how the people go through this amazing content. And it's huge and it's fun.
What are you looking forward to most?
Well, I love stats, and this game gives a lot of opportunity to statistically drive progression. And on top of that, I love the apocalypse.
Yeah.
So
You're a dark guy.
yeah. So, seeing that fully realized and being able for people to see that too, I'm like, yeah, a huge disaster. Let's see what happens. That's going to be very deep and awesome.
I like to say that we're all excited about jumping in the dark zone and just wrecking people. But in reality, we're going to jump in and people are going to absolutely destroy us. Within the first week, people are going to get so practiced.
That's why you gotta be there at midnight at launch.
Yeah.
And then you get a few hours of mastery from your entire time of development experience.
Years.
I know some things.
Yeah. You get a few hours to be top dog, and then you realize that everyone is better than you, and they own you quite a bit.
Yeah, you step away.
You can give up.
Yeah, I would say I most enjoy about working on the project how one-to-one and authentic the city that we get to build is. I was just there personally a month or so ago, and I knew where I was the entire time, and it was very exciting. Walking around the city, and it was my wife's first trip there, and so I got to go. Oh yeah, Bryant Park's right around the corner from here. Yeah, I spend a lot of days walking around in here,
visualizing your mini map, just spreading out
exactly.
on the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah, or walking down to Madison Square Garden, that type of thing. So yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for joining in.
Thanks for having us.
It's been awesome.
Thanks a
I
lot.
feel like we should fist bump, even though it's not going to come across very well on a podcast.
We
There it
just
is.
did it. It happened.
All
It did happen.
I'll add some sound effects, so it's like.
Yeah.
Powerful. Right.
All
Very
right.
nice.
Thanks to everyone who made it to the end of our third podcast. I really feel like we should be leaving some top secret information for all of you that are dedicated enough to make it all the way through. So I'll have to think something up for next time, I think. As always, you can throw questions at The Division Game on Twitter, and if you have feedback on the podcast, you can direct that to @HamishBode on Twitter. That's me. Also, I've forgotten to mention in the past that if you want to hear future episodes of the podcast the minute it goes up, you should follow us on SoundCloud. Also, as of right now, you can find us on iTunes, Double Twist, Stitcher, and probably some other places if that's your kind of thing. Thanks again, nerds. Until next time, keep it clean.